My name is Amira Barrett. I'm a filmmaker at Spelman College. Growing up, I was the kid who annoyed the hell out of my teachers for asking so many questions. In my adulthood, I've still kept this inquisitive trait of mine. However, there's one particular question that I've been asking for years. And frankly, I'm still looking for the answer. Before I could figure out what the black body is, I had to figure out why. Why is knowing what the black body is even important to begin with?
That's a very compelling question, and I'm probably going to speak generationally. Having been bombarded with negative and stereotypical images of Black women, particularly around their bodies not being perceived to be attractive, or around their sexuality, of which they associate with promiscuity. The first thing I would say is that Black women, particularly young Black women, should be aware of the global, not just US, the global ways in which Black female bodies are constructed and perceived. Because it makes us, for example, more vulnerable to sexual violence, makes us more vulnerable to stalking, and makes us more vulnerable actually to rape.
Why? Because
50% of medical students think that Black people feel less pain than white people.
and because guys like this actually exist.
The Black is a better athlete to begin with because he's been bred to be that way, because of his high thighs and big thighs that goes up into his back.
Snyder went on, saying there's not much room left for, quote, the white guys in sports, except for a couple of coaching jobs.
Because if we don't define our bodies, someone else will, as history has shown us over and over and over again. So, in order to know what something is, you gotta start from the beginning.
There certainly would not have been this abhorrence of dark skin. There certainly would not have been all of the angst around hair texture on the continent before the arrival of Europeans. The very rigid, over time, Western notion of beauty in women as being someone who's thin is even a more recent development. It wasn't even the case when Europeans came and colonized the rest of the world. Pre-colonial Western African gender constructs is attractiveness would not have necessarily been defined as physical beauty. Pre-colonial Africa was an agricultural society, and women worked, in the same way that men did. So what would have been considered attractive would not have just been, what does she look like? It would have also have been, in what ways is she able to contribute to the wellness and the economic well-being of the community? So it wouldn't just be how much does she weigh and what does her hair look like, because the notion of what constitutes positive womanhood would have been broader than the body.
The culture saw the Black male body as strength, as protection, as an opportunity to create structure for the society, right? And it was because of that we developed strengths that allowed us to be able to be seen by other races as strong breeds for different types of cultures. And that was unfortunately, a part of the translation into why Africans should be brought over to the Americas to do some of the labor.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing
Because the black male body was perceived as strong, when other cultures, ethnicities, recognized not only the genetic diversity, but also the strength of the black male body, they wanted to capitalize on that. And because of that, they tended to lean towards removing them from their environment in Africa and taking them into other places in the world. And even in bringing them to America, the strength then got twisted into a different dynamic where that strength now became weaponized in the sense of a threat. It became a threat to the culture that was trying to enslave them.
After Africa, the black woman's body was constructed as available and for the use of white people whenever they wanted. From working nonstop to sexual exploitation, the black woman's body did not belong to her anymore, and self-abandonment was the everyday routine. In order to justify the rape and torture of black women's bodies during slavery were either seen as lascivious creatures, always wanting sex, or loyal work dogs with super strength that were begging for subservience and structure. The force and structure of black men once protecting them had been destroyed, leaving us to fend for ourselves in a world that saw our bodies as brainless objects for self-gratification.
So the context in the modern day, I think, gets seen in maybe a variety of ways, where in some respects we glorify the black male body and the athleticism that we see when we see basketball players or football players doing amazing things in their respective professions.
Russell looking for Ferguson in the corner for three. Bang! Westbrook is out of his cotton-picking mind.
And that's why people pay a lot of money to go see, performers perform in that way. Because the black male body can do those dynamic and wonderful things, people want to see what we can do and how that translates into entertainment. I think the opposite side of that is there are also aspects of society, because it is seen as strength, see it as a threat. And I think about, for example, in the 90s, there was legislation that was directed towards this concept of black males being super predators. Super predators with respect to their criminality specifically. And because of that, there were higher sentences placed on crimes that were more related to inner city interactions. There were more policing that happened, more aggressive contacts between law enforcement and black males, all behind this idea of the super predator that exists in the black male body.
I'll just give you one example. Even when Janetta Cole and I, middle-aged black women, were traveling in Europe one summer, we noticed that we would sometimes be followed by European white men. And it occurred to us that they assumed we were sex workers, simply because we were African-American women, and it didn't matter that we were middle-aged and not at all looking like sex workers, but that's a really dominant stereotype. Unfortunately, it's the case that if you grew up in the U.S. as a young African-American woman now, you are bombarded, particularly with the social media and with hip-hop culture. You are bombarded mostly with sexual images of us. And those have become so normalized until we don't associate those images with anything that's negative or even stereotypical. So women of my generation have to talk about the negative and even dangerous consequences of the global construction of Black women, particularly Black women's bodies, as available, accessible, and that men have a right to take advantage of our bodies, and we don't really care because we're hypersexual. So I always am trying to make the argument across generations that what appears to be innocent and normal and okay and even liberating, this notion that it's okay to be bombarded with Black female sexual images in the media because somehow that's liberating, has an underlying very problematic and dangerous consequence.
Protection, beauty beyond her body, structure, strength, a threat, a commodity, a petri dish, a sexually corrupt creature, a monster, a joke, a spectacle, a fetish, America's idol. What is the Black body? Ladies and gentlemen, I finally found my answer. I don't know. The Black body is far too complex a marvel of nature to put it into a simple definition. I don't know what the Black body is, but I do know what the Black body is not.